Thank you very much, viewers, for joining this video where we'll discuss about how to prepare for a job interview. If you are a returning subscriber, I value you. I thank you for investing your time to watch my videos. And if you are a new subscriber, I still value you. Thank you for investing your time to join me in this video today. And I pray that it will help you and it will add value to your career. And I request you to subscribe and follow us for more content. You can also engage with us and tell us what are the discussions that you want to hear, and also whether this video did add value to you. So I'll just dive into today's discussion, where I will divide this discussion into three parts: preparation before the interview, preparation during the interview, and preparation after the interview. So before the interview, once you receive that golden call from the HR, what are you supposed to do? The most important thing that you need to do is to research about the company. Go to their social media pages, their Facebook, their Instagram. If they have Twitter, see what is the latest content. What did they say about the company? Is there any product launch? Is there any what about the financials? Anything that they have spoken about maybe in the last month, you need to be up to date with that information. Head to their website, look at their about section. What is the company talking about? See who are managing that company. Look at the leadership. What are their vision? What are their mission? Their core values. See how this vision, core values, how they are aligned to you, how they are aligned to your core values. See yourself working there. Number 3, you need to also check about the hiring manager. If that position, the HR already told you who is the hiring manager, then you can head to LinkedIn and Google them, see their names, their title, look at their profile. What are their interests? Do you have any interests, or do you have any mutual connections that you can use to gain more information from them regarding the hiring manager or the position? That is one of the other way that you can use. That's a form of networking. And also number 4, see any information, look up for any information regarding that position. Look at the position title, the JD, where it talks about the role is reporting to whom, what are the responsibilities. This role is it a regional role? Is it a local role? Look at the location. Look at is it a leadership role or not? So will you have any leadership responsibilities? That information is key, because you will use this information to prepare yourself to respond to those interview questions. Look at the skills section. Do you have the relevant education? Do you have the relevant skills that are needed for that role? If you do not have, what is the skills gap? And how are you going to explain yourself to the recruitment team about how you are going to manage yourself to close that gap? That is very important. So these are some of the things that you need to do. And number 6, you also need to ensure that you prepare your portfolio, especially if you are a creative, like a graphic designer, a digital marketer. So if you are called for the interview, then you need to have a portfolio. So I would prefer that you carry like a gadget where you can show the recruitment team all your works. You can open and show them what you have done that is aligned to what they're looking for. That is important. It looks like to them that you are prepared and you're ready for that job. And also, you need, even though you are not a creative, you still need to prepare a portfolio. This portfolio should include your educational certificates, any letters from your previous employers. What have they said about you? Those are the reference letters. Any other information that you deem is aligned to that position, you should be able to include that in your portfolio. And here I will urge you to invest in a nice folder. Yes, don't use a normal A4 envelope. Like here in the UAE, I've seen some candidates using envelopes. And during summer, it's very hot. And so your palms are all sweaty. And by the time you reach to the interview room, your A4 envelope is torn. And really, like they say, the first impression is the last impression. You need to have a good first impression. Impress the hiring team. So that is very important. And number 8, I think you need to make sure you prepare your dressing. And the dressing it goes together with yourself. Prepare yourself. Go for a shave. You're grooming, go for a shave. If you're a lady, make sure your hair is neat and tidy. You don't need to go and braid it, but at least make sure it's clean, it's tidy. So for gents, make sure you have a nice clean shave. Your beards are well trimmed, okay? And if you have beards, they are neat and tidy. Make sure you have a nice shirt, it's ironed, nice trouser. You really don't need to wear a tie unless it's a very senior position, like the managerial positions. So, and especially during summer, really, you can wear, but it's really not required. But as long as you're presentable, that is what matters. And make sure your shoes are clean and well, they're clean. So that is important. It looks like it's not something that you need to mention, but it's very important because I have seen when I sit in interviews, some people, they really don't pay attention to their grooming. I've seen candidates walking with a suit, but they have sports shoes. I've seen candidates coming with those rugged jeans, and it's a formal position. And some of them, even they have capes. So, and even when you have a cape and you walk into an interview, it's always good manners, at least, to remove your cape and keep it there, and interview, and then I can always wear it after the interview. I remember we had that with one of the hiring managers. For me, it was a non-issue, but for that hiring manager, he was, and he was the decision maker. So he said, if we can't even remove that cape, it means he has no respect. So for him, it really rubbed on the wrong way. But I spoke to him, and so he was okay. But it's some of the things that you need to pay attention to. That guy, he really didn't know, and so I can't blame him. But you're always supposed to be vigilant. Make sure at least you can always wear formal. You can never go wrong if you wear formally. Than you underdressing, and then irrespective of how you present yourself in the interview, how you respond to questions, but you will miss it. Remember, the likability factor in any interview is key. Your first impression is really the last impression. So as you enter that room, you need to command that presence. Walk in, and everybody wants to hear. When they see you, they're interested in you, what you want to say, and what you can offer. That is very important. So command that attention, and then you'll be good to go. The rest of the interview, it will go well. And you will find that if you are well dressed and you are prepared yourself enough before the interview, you will have that confidence even when you're responding to those interview questions. So if you prepare yourself, then at least you are 20% of that interview, if not 30, you are ready to go. So the rest, you can just respond to the questions and then manage the after the interview part. So these are some of the things I thought I'll discuss with you before the interview. And now the second part is during the interview. During the interview, it's very important we make sure that we arrive for the interview on time. And here I'll say one thing. It's important for you to identify the location beforehand. On the day of the interview, it's not the day that you will go and start looking for taxi, and you are trying to give the taxi driver location, and the taxi driver doesn't understand. Because some companies, it's a bit hard for you to identify their location. I was actually impressed one time. I'll give an example where we had hired a candidate for one of the junior roles, but he really wanted to know the company and the location. So from his home to the company, so he actually took time to drive from his home to the company to identify the distance. And with that, when I was going home, I saw him and I was asking him, what are you doing here? And he said, I really want to know how I can get to this place. So with this story, even during the interview, I can also tell you, look for that place a day before the interview. If you're really not sure, so that on the day of the interview, you will not lose any chance. You just directly go. Because I've seen some candidates, they get lost during the day of the interview. They get lost and they miss the interview. And you know, the interviewers, they have slots. So once your slot is over, it's very hard for them to reschedule again, because also they have other works, and so they will just do with other candidates who come. So really, if you worked hard to send applications and you got the interview, prepare yourself well so that you can be able to manage. So the location is important. Number two, make sure you also on the day of the interview, you groom well. Like I said, you dress professionally. Make sure you have a cologne. Here in Dubai, it's very hot, and sometimes if it's during summer, people tend to sweat a lot. And so when you enter the interview room, you don't want to be the person who will enter and there's the change of air in the interview room will be different. So invest in a cologne. It doesn't need to be expensive, but at least it will help you manage yourself. And number three, when you are going for the interview, make sure you have prepared yourself. Identify the questions that you think they will be answered first. The first question that you need to prepare is, tell me about yourself. There are those common interview questions. I will take a time in another video. I'll discuss about the 10 common interviews questions. So anticipate these questions and see how you can respond. So if you have done that homework, then when the interviewing team are asking those questions, then you will be able to respond to these questions with confidence, and that's how you will ace that interview. So nowadays, many companies are using competency-based interview techniques. So those are other interview questions that you need to prepare, where they talk about how you are able to perform your role. What, like, questions which are asking about what did you do, how did you do it, how would you do it, you know, have you done this? So all those questions, you need to have some stories. So have stories that you need to explain to the interviewers regarding what they're asking, especially for those we call them competency-based questions. And these questions, you really need to use the STAR method. So this bit I'll discuss in another video. But this is very important because you are responding to those interview questions. And the other thing that you need to do is, when you are responding to those interview questions, make sure you are audible. Make sure you just don't ramble through the answers. Make sure you are clear and concise. And don't use those jargons, those difficult words. Just use simple words that everybody can understand, so that they can be able to understand you and you'll be with you during the interview. That is very important, especially for those people who are doing the technical interviews. Remember, in those rooms, there are people who are not technical in nature, but they also need to understand what you're talking about. So that is where the likability factor. See how you can balance responding to those, answers. That's very important. And the other thing is, you need to prepare at least a few questions that you need to ask the employer or the interview panel. At least have about 2 to 3 questions that you need to ask them, so that if they give you the chance, you can ask them. Remember, the interview has 2 things that needs to accomplish. The company will interview you, but from your end, you also need to interview the company. Ask them about that role. Is it a new role? What does success look like for that position? In 6 months, what are the things will they expect you to have achieved for you to be successful in that role? These are some of the questions that you need to ask the interview panel. This is very important. And make sure you smile during that interview. Make sure you're smiling, you're friendly, you're polite. That is very important. It shows that you're confident and you're friendly, and it's very easy for you to build relationships or to collaborate with other people. That is very important. And finally, that is not the time that you need to change your accent, because some people, they go for the interviews and they want to acquire foreign accents during those interviews, and those accents, they really end up working against them because nobody can understand them. So just use your normal accent, your normal voice, but make sure that you are audible, you are clear, and you are not swallowing your words. That is okay. There is a test that is called the airport test. That is very important during the interview. This shows how you need to be very engaged, such that any of those interviewers in that room, if they meet with you for the first time, or maybe you are together in one room, how will they be able to interact with you? Will they have something to say, or you'll only be looking at each other and you lack words? That airport test is important, and this is one of the things that these interviewers look for. They look for people who are not only qualified, but people who are friendly and people who they can relate with easily, even if there is tension, or they are locked up in a room. So if you are likable, then they will definitely vouch for you. So these are some of the things that you need to do during the interview. So after the interview, before you leave that interview room, you need to thank them for their time. And once you leave the interview, make sure within 24 hours you send a thank you email to the HR or to the recruiter. Thank them for their time. Thank them for explaining to you more about that position. And if you feel that there's something that they really need for that position, but you are not able to, explain yourself clearly to them during that interview period, because of maybe during interview you have maybe tension, then you can do so in the email. You can just highlight that bit and explain yourself more so that it's clear. And then just make sure that interview email is short and friendly, and then just send to them within 24 hours. And after that, you wait for their response. So those are some of the things that you need to do when you're preparing for the interview. If you have any other questions regarding this topic, then I welcome you to send. You can update your comment in the comment section and I'll respond to you. So thank you very much for watching this video. I pray that this video will add value to you, and I wish you all the best in your job search, and we'll see you again in the next video. Bye bye for now. God bless and much love.